7 huge Emmerdale spoilers for next week. Hey everyone, welcome back to episode Whisper. If you're a fan of Emmerdale, you're in for a thrilling week ahead. We've got the scoop on 7 huge spoilers for the episodes airing from September 9th to 13th. Get ready for a dramatic barnfire sparked by a showdown between Ruby and a confused Moira. Plus, Nate will be bidding farewell to the village, and Will faces yet another ominous threat from his Blackmailer. You won't want to miss these explosive moments. But before we dive into the details, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our latest updates. Let's jump right into the 7 big moments to watch out for next week. Cain reacts to the rumor about Moira. Cain is absolutely stunned when he hears about the supposed kiss between Moira and Nate. His initial reaction is one of shock and disbelief, but as Moira tries to downplay the situation, his frustration only grows. Cain's anger reaches new heights, making him more volatile than ever as he processes this betrayal. When Cain heads back home, Moira soon realizes that he's taken his rage out on Nate. This brings on a strange sense of déjà vu for her, as if she's been through a similar emotional rollercoaster before. The distress of the situation overwhelms her, leading her to react in a way she hadn't planned. In a heated moment, Moira slaps Cain, driven by a mix of anger and frustration. It's a raw and emotional response to the chaos that has unfolded, marking a significant turning point in their relationship and adding to the already intense atmosphere. 2. Cain disowns his son. Caleb's confrontation with Nate lays everything bare, and the impact on Tracy is immense. The truth behind the accusations hits her like a ton of bricks, and she's left feeling completely crushed. The realization of what's really going on shatters her, and she's overwhelmed by a wave of emotions that she can't seem to manage. The emotional toll is clear, as Tracy struggles to come to terms with the situation. The strain of the revelations is too much for her to bear, and she finds herself grappling with a profound sense of devastation. It's a painful moment of reckoning, leaving her reeling and trying to process the fallout from the harsh truth that has come to light. Cain arrives at the scene, seething with anger and hurt. Instead of giving Nate a chance to explain himself, Cain reacts violently. He throws a punch that sends Nate crashing to the floor, and his rage doesn't stop there. Cain continues to brutally attack Nate, channeling all his frustration and pain into a vicious assault. Tracy, overwhelmed by the violence and her own emotions, intervenes to stop Cain from causing further harm. Despite Nate's heartfelt pleas and desperate attempts to clear his name, Cain remains unmoved. In a final act of rejection, Cain walks away and disowns his son, leaving Nate isolated and heartbroken amidst the chaos. 3. Moira hallucinates. Ruby shows up at the barn while Moira is hard at work, and at first, she's pretty smug about it. She throws some sharp comments Moira's way, expecting to get under her skin. But Moira doesn't give her the reaction Ruby was hoping for. Instead, Moira's silence and indifference only seem to fuel Ruby's irritation. As Moira gets more distressed, she ends up spilling tractor oil everywhere. Her frustration and anxiety take over, and Ruby's voice starts to blend into the background. To Moira, it begins to sound like Emma Barton's voice, stirring up old, painful memories. In a moment of sheer panic and confusion, Moira starts hallucinating. She grabs a shotgun and, seeing a ghostly image of her old foe, Ruby becomes the target of her delusional anger. Moira locks the barn in a frenzy, completely overwhelmed by the intensity of her emotions and the haunting presence of her past enemies. 4. A fire takes hold in the barn. Moira, in a state of sheer panic, fires a warning shot that sends Ruby into a frenzy. The bullet hits a light bulb, creating a spark that sets off a chain reaction. Ruby, terrified and desperate, lunges for the gun, leading to a chaotic struggle between the two women. In the heat of the moment, Moira manages to knock Ruby unconscious, but the danger is far from over. With Ruby lying motionless on the floor, Moira's confusion only deepens. She stands in shock, watching as the spark from the light bulb catches on the tractor fuel. The fire quickly spreads, turning the barn into a dangerous inferno. Moira is paralyzed by fear and helplessness as the flames begin to engulf everything around her. As the barn blazes out of control, Moira is left standing beside Ruby's lifeless body, unable to do anything to stop the disaster unfolding. The chaos and the fire intensify, leaving Moira in a state of utter despair, completely overwhelmed by the magnitude of what's happened. 5. Cain races to the burning barn. When Mac notices the smoke billowing from the barn and realizes Moira hasn't answered her phone, he rushes over to see what's going on. He's joined by John, and together they make their way into the barn, hoping to find and rescue Moira. The situation is chaotic, and the smoke is thick, making their task even more dangerous. Back at the farmhouse, Cain, Caleb, and Chaz get the news from Mac. They waste no time and head straight for the barn, determined to help. Chaz tries to stop Cain from rushing in, given their fraught relationship and Cain's history with Moira, but Cain isn't about to wait. He pushes past Chaz and heads into the inferno, driven by a mix of anger and concern. As the fire escalates and turns into a full-blown explosion, the urgency and danger increase. The barn is engulfed in flames, and the real question becomes whether anyone will manage to escape the fiery disaster unscathed. The situation is dire, and the outcome is uncertain as the fire continues to rage. 6. Nate says goodbye. Tracy's frustration and hurt over Cain's accusations reach a breaking point, leading her to tell Nate that she can no longer go to Shetland with him. This decision is more than just a change of plans. It's a crushing blow to Nate, who finds himself faced with the harsh reality of losing not only his relationship, but also his hopes for the future. The weight of Tracy's words hits him hard, and he's left reeling from the sudden unraveling of everything he had envisioned for their life together. With a stern and emotionless demeanor, Tracy allows Nate a mere 5 minutes to say goodbye to their child, Frankie. It's a brief, almost mechanical allowance that starkly contrasts with the emotional depth of the situation. As Nate clings to this short window to express his love and farewells, Tracy steps away, leaving him to navigate the heartbreak of this final moment, with their child alone. The atmosphere is thick with sadness as Nate prepares to leave, his future now clouded by the emotional fallout of his broken family. The plans he once had are in ruins, and the sense of loss is overwhelming. His departure is marked by a profound sadness, as he faces the reality of leaving behind not just his family, but also the dreams that seemed so attainable just days ago. As Nate walks away, the gravity of his situation is undeniable. The emotional burden of the day's events hangs heavy, casting a long shadow over his departure. With his hopes dashed and his family fractured, Nate's future seems uncertain and bleak, leaving him to grapple with the deep sense of loss and disappointment that accompanies his leaving. 7. Will waits for his blackmailer. Will is in a high-stress situation, anxiously waiting to hear from his blackmailer. He's parked in a lay-by, clutching the ransom money with a sense of desperation. The tension is thick as he hopes this exchange will finally reveal who's been tormenting him and bring an end to the ongoing nightmare. Just as Will is about to go through with the drop, Caleb arrives with urgent news that completely shifts Will's focus. He tells Will about the devastating fire that's engulfing the Dingles' barn. Realizing the immediate danger and the need for support, Will makes a tough decision and abandons his plans to confront the blackmailer. His priority shifts to helping the Dingles, knowing their safety is more crucial right now. As Will heads off to the barn, the situation only worsens. Later, amid the unfolding chaos, he gets a chilling phone call from the blackmailer. The call is unsettling and leaves Will visibly shaken. The fear and uncertainty of what's to come next weigh heavily on him, intensifying the already stressful situation. The blackmailer's threat casts a long shadow over Will's life, adding yet another layer of anxiety. While he's trying to deal with the fire and support those in need, the looming threat from his blackmailer remains a constant source of fear and tension, complicating an already dire situation. And there you have it, 7 huge Emmerdale spoilers for the week of September 9th to 13th. From explosive barn fires and intense family confrontations to heartbreaking goodbyes and looming threats, it's going to be a week packed with drama and emotion. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always up to date with the latest from Episode Whisper. We'll be covering all the twists and turns, and you won't want to miss a single moment of this thrilling storyline. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.